What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today I'm going to be sharing my top 10 beginner tips for Advanced Warfare. These tips are designed for people that maybe just picked up the game or just got it for Christmas. It's not really designed for the people that have been playing for a long time and really understand Advanced Warfare. It's more for the newer players, but there are a couple tips in here that will help some people that are maybe just struggling with the game and have been playing it for a little while. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so let's kick it off with number 10. For a lot of the players that are new to the game, they might not know this, but you can put modules on your score streaks. And one of these modules that you can actually put on the aerial recon drone, the UAV, the orbital care package, and the remote turret is the support module. Now what this does is it allows you to die and still work your way towards that streak. So you don't have to get a score streak before dying. You can just earn that streak just by simply playing the game. And this really is going to help you out a lot if you're really struggling to earn streaks or you almost never earn streaks. Throw that support module on your UAV and now you're suddenly going to be earning UAVs every game and you're going to be helping your team out, and it also helps you out a little bit. So don't forget that there is that support option if you are struggling to earn streaks. Number 9, party up. Now normally I'm a solo player, 100% solo player. I have been forever, and usually I can be kind of a dominant force in a match, and I can usually turn the tides in a match. I know that sounds a little bit too confident, but I have been playing for a long time, and normally I'm able to do that. In Advanced Warfare, I'm not. And I find that I'm constantly coming up against parties. And I have a very hard time actually winning any games as a solo player, even if I'm on the top of the lobby nearly every single game. So partying up definitely makes your life a whole lot easier, even if it's people that aren't amazing at the game. As long as you're like-minded people that want to actually win the game and you're communicating a little bit, it helps a ton. So if you don't have any friends that are playing Advanced Warfare, feel free to leave your gamertag or your PSN in the comment section of this video, and if you're looking for people, go down into the comment section of the video, find some people there, send them a friend request, and you can play with them. You guys can play together. It helps so much to party up in this game. Number 8, don't boost jump just for the sake of boost jumping. Like, I know the new movement system is really exciting in Advanced Warfare, and you can now double jump, and you can get to places you couldn't get to before. But I see a lot of beginners making the mistake of boost jumping when there's really no purpose for the boost jump. It's not going to get you anywhere any faster. They're just basically trying to get from point A to point B, and they're running out in the open, and for no reason they just double jump into the air. Now what this does for the enemy team is it basically just waves a flag saying, hey, I'm over here, shoot me. By boost jumping, you expose yourself to a larger area of the map, and it's really easy to see somebody as they boost jump into the air. It definitely catches your eye when you see somebody do that. A lot more than just somebody running on the ground. So if you're just trying to get from point A to point B and there's no real purpose to your boost jump, just save your boost jump. You don't need to do it there. If you're trying to get to a rooftop or something, of course, boost jump to get up there. If you get into a gunfight and you feel like the best thing in that situation is to do a boost jump while trying to shoot your enemy or trying to evade your enemy, then by all means go for it. But don't just boost jump for the sake of boost jumping. Number 7, don't forget to use cover. I've noticed a lot of people, myself included, kind of forget to use cover in this game. I don't know what it is. I guess it's because of the new movement system. I feel like I can just dodge bullets, so I run out into the open, and I feel like I can always just dash out of the way or double jump, and I can avoid all the shots from my enemy, and I can just be a super soldier jumping out into the open and challenging everybody. Sometimes this works, but most of the time it won't work. The time to kill is quite fast in this game, and if an enemy catches you off guard while you're out in the open and they have cover, you pretty much have no chance. It's the same as any other Call of Duty game as far as that goes. So don't forget about cover. Number 6, this one is a little bit contradictory to the last one, and it kind of leads off of the last one. Don't camp. It doesn't work like it used to in previous Call of Duty games. In a lot of the older games, you could basically go into a room that has 2 different entrances. You could put a bouncing Betty, a claymore, or an IED at your back, and then you just had to worry about your front. That's not going to work in most situations on most maps in this game. There's too many ways for your enemies to get to you, and their mobility makes it so you're basically a sitting duck, and also you don't have the defensive equipment that's nearly as effective as it used to be. So don't try to lock down that building like you used to. It's probably not going to work for you in Advanced Warfare. Now, one thing I will say with this is you don't have to go to the other extreme. You don't have to rush around like a chicken with his head cut off. You can move around these maps methodically and slowly. Just don't sit in one room thinking you can lock that down like in previous Call of Duty games. Moving on to number 5, pay attention to the popular spots on all of the maps, and also how to counter these spots. Now, this isn't going to be obvious right up front at first. As soon as you jump into a game, you aren't going to be able to see this, but over time you'll start to learn the patterns of how enemies seem to move and the different areas that they gravitate towards. So every map has about 4 or 5, give or take a few spots, where there's almost always going to be an enemy, or there's always going to be an enemy at least trying to get to that spot. These are the spots you want to be aware of, and you want to be able to learn how to properly counter these spots. Now, part of that is just practice, like I said, and recognizing patterns. Another part of it is watching people play on YouTube, like really good players, and see how they handle those situations. And another thing you can do is watch tip videos. I have my Maps Exposed series. This is where I cover all of the jumps, the spots, and the lines of sight that I know of on all of the maps. And a lot of the lines of sight that I try to find for you guys in this series are to counter those really popular areas that enemies always gravitate towards. By watching these videos, it will help you earn those free kills pretty much every single game. I'll leave you guys a link to that playlist in the description below. So number 4, use the firing range to test out a gun before a game. A lot of the times people don't really know what a gun will do, like what kind of recoil it has, or the fire rate, or anything like that. They don't really know until they actually get into a gunfight. And this is probably the worst time to find out that your gun has a whole lot of recoil, or a very low rate of fire, and you're right up close to an enemy. Test it out in the firing range first, and then go into a game with a little bit of confidence, knowing how that gun is going to behave in a real situation. Now, to get to the firing range, just in case you're brand new and you don't know this yet, basically just hover over one of your classes and press the start button. It will immediately load the firing range, and then you'll have some targets that you can shoot at, and you can just basically fire the gun around and just see sort of how it handles in general. Number 3, work on your aim, especially while using the exo movements. In previous Call of Duties, it was more of like a two-dimensional plane that you were always playing on, so your enemies were always going to be generally at like chest level, and they would be either straight in front of you, or to the left, or to the right. And that was as complicated as gunfights would get. In this game, they can be in all of those places still, but they can also be up in the sky, they can be hovering, they can be dashing, they can be jumping all over the place. You'd never really know where an enemy is going to be, and it changes a lot of how you aim. It also changes when you're on the other end and you're the one moving around, you're the one jumping all over the place. You want to be able to handle your accuracy while you're double jumping in the air, or while you're dashing. So this is where my aiming drill comes in. I will leave a link to this one in the description as well. I know I'm kind of just self-promoting myself a little bit in this video, but I promise you this will help you guys. A lot of people have already used this and swear by this drill. I always use it when I need to warm up, and it actually works to help get your aim on target. So make sure you check out that accuracy drill, it will help you a lot. Moving on to number 2, this is one that I kind of hate to say. I don't usually like it when people are like, you have to use this, or you never use this, or something like that. But I am going to tell you guys right now, you pretty much have to use Blast Suppressor. This is the most important perk in the game in my opinion, at least for core game modes. For hardcore it might not be so important, and obviously for the non-EXO playlist this isn't important. But basically what Blast Suppressor does, in case you're not aware, is it keeps you off the minimap. Every time you use one of your EXO movements, so boost sliding, boost dashing, boost jumping, so double jumping, you will show up as a little ripple on your enemy's minimap. And just think about how often you actually use these movements. It's probably going to be quite often, like every few seconds you're probably using one of those EXO movements. Do you really want to be popping up on your enemy's minimap every few seconds? I know I don't, so I use Blast Suppressor on every single one of my classes, and I feel like it's a necessity in core game modes. So finally, for number 1, this one's a little bit cheesy, but it really does matter. Have fun with the game and don't worry about your stats. This game is a lot harder than previous Call of Duty games. It's a lot harder to do well and a lot harder to go on really high streaks because of all of the EXO movement and everything. There's people all over the map. There's skill-based matchmaking in this game as well, so you're not going to get playing against people that are on a much lower skill level than you, at least not very often. So don't expect to get the same stats that you're going to get in previous Call of Duty games. I'm somebody that's used to getting around a 2.5 to 3 kill death ratio in previous Call of Duties. It was very easy for me. to maintain those levels and still complete challenges and play with random setups and things like that. In this game, even when I'm trying my hardest, I struggle to get around like a 2-kill death ratio. And it's kind of frustrating, or it was frustrating at first, until I realized it doesn't matter at all. I'm not somebody that ever really did play for stats, but I always kept track of them just to see like what my progress was, see if I was getting a little bit better, if I was progressing in any way. And it was frustrating me a bit to see this lower kill death ratio. Really, it doesn't matter. Just expect you're not going to do as well in this game as you did in previous Call of Duty games, assuming you have played Call of Duty before. And just be ready to struggle a little bit with this game. Just try to have fun with it. Just play for fun, play to win, and don't worry about dying a bunch. It's probably going to happen. You will get better over time, but probably not quite as good as you got in previous Call of Duty games. Because like I said, this game is much harder. So that's going to wrap it up for my top 10 beginner tips for Advanced Warfare. I hope you guys were able to learn something new with this. Even you guys that have been playing this for a little while, hopefully you got something out of this video and I was able to help you, at least maybe change your mindset a little bit with this video. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.